Hello, 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 and thank you for joining us on another episode of Popcorn for Breakfast with your wonderful co-host, Kirk.
Hello, hello.
I'm your other co-host, Cam, and man, we've got a packed show. We really do. I used to say that before every episode in the cold open that we had a packed show, and the truth of the matter is we really do have a packed show again, and that is a lovely, great feeling, Kirk. We've got, for the stream, let's talk about the stream specifically. We've got packed little podcasts for you podcast people, but specifically in the stream, we've got a huge movie review, #1 box office winner. We've got tons of huge movie news. We've got games. We've got schoolyard picks. We got the whole thing rocking this week. All of it. We got all of it. We're going to let you know what's coming up, what to watch for, like what's coming up in streaming, what's coming to theaters. So many great things, Kirk. It's great to be here, don't you think?
There's a lot of things happening. I don't even know what's in store for this. I come in blindly often to our episodes that we record.
I like that.
Like gleefully. Like you might even say, hey, watch this trailer. And I really try. And then sometimes I don't. Sometimes you're getting my blind reaction to things here on the podcast.
Yeah, I think that's mostly me. A lot of times I will be like, hey, here's what we're going to talk about today. And sometimes I'm like, no, you don't get to know.
That's right. You withhold. You just draw back.
I do. I had notes ready for this episode hours ago. Did I send them to you? No.
No.
I didn't. I sure didn't. And that's by design because I feel you're quick on your feet, Kirk. You're like a cat. You react really quickly. And so I want to get your gut reactions. I don't want these well thought out things. I want your visceral reaction. That's what I really want.
Yeah, because you don't want to be over rehearsed. Like, okay, when Cam
That's right.
talks about what it might be, Candyman, specific thing in there, I'm gonna be like,
Yes.
whoa, actually, here's my true feelings. Versus, like I have like a prepared joke or something, and then it just falls flat, and I am embarrassed
Exactly.
for the next 18 minutes, and then I get back into it, right? So yeah, I'm down. I'm down for what you got thrown at me.
Yeah, it should be good. But yes, as you mentioned today, the movie we're reviewing is Candyman. This week we're reviewing Candyman, directed by Nia DaCosta, starring Yahya Abdul-Mateen and Teyana Paris and others. So that's very exciting. We are going to play a game, and Kirk, you're the game master, so I'm leaving that to you. We'll talk about that when the time comes. We're going to do a schoolyard pick of candy in honor of Candyman. It's kind of like we'll save that for the very end of the stream because it's like that thing where you watch a scary movie and then you have to like do something fun or watch something fun before you go to sleep so that your dreams aren't haunted. That's what we're giving you guys at the end of this. We're going to review a scary movie, but then we're going to talk about candy. So it's like palate cleanser, reset button, done.
That's right, because we will probably scare you in what we're going to talk about today and rehashing feelings from the movie, the Peter Pan scale.
We're going to reenact how scared we were. No, we're not going to do that.
We're going to reenact some of the scenes, actually, from Candyman.
Yes, while you're over there on your screen and I'm over here, we're going to that would be impressive. We'll have to work that out.
And if you're only listening, it's going to be like a radio show for you, so get ready.
We'll do sound effects. Yeah, buzzing. There it is.
There was an explosion.
No, but we can add one. I think that we can do creative interpretation. So yeah, we'll be doing some of that. And then, of course, we'll get you caught up on the latest movie and TV news in What's Poppin', which we're going to dive into in just a second. But first, Kirk,
What?
I'm going to break some news. I'm going to break some news that I have not seen reported anywhere else. So I think it's possible that myself, along with my wife, Jackie, were the first to discover that a new scene has been added to the Paw Patrol movie on Paramount Plus. That's right. You heard it here first. I have not seen it on Reddit. I have not seen an article about it, not a tweet about it. Nothing. This is it. This is the first reporting. This is big stuff. There was a scene added. And Kirk, you mentioned something about how not every dog got their piece of time, didn't you? Was that
correct?
You?
Yes,
that was like one of your critiques.
A few of them did not get the opportunity. Yes.
And I think perhaps the most glaring omission was Rocky,
Mhm.
the green, the Earth saving dog. And this new scene features Rocky, and it's during the fireworks part when Mayor Humdinger's setting off the fireworks in the square. Rocky gets a whole new 30-second to 1 minute bit where he gets to sort of save the day and you see him spring into action. That was just added. And
Yeah.
you may say, how did you notice this, Cam? Well, it's quite simple, really. I've seen this movie now 5 trillion times. And so if anything is even slightly amiss, I'm all over it. Trust me, I'm over it. In fact, I've watched it so many times as background noise at this point because my kids have been sick with like some sort of cold plague. It's horrible. And so the movie watching has really, I mean, we're talking like 3 times as much movie watching going on in the house as compared to usual.
Right.
And so I usually watch it as background noise. So I had to question myself first, like, wait, is this new? Or have I just literally never seen this before? But no, it's definitely new.
Yeah, did it become the Mandela effect, or was
Yes.
it actually a new scene? Yeah, I would imagine you walking around your living room and your kitchen setup. They kind of merge into each other. You're like pouring yourself some cereal, and you're just like mouthing the word, or not even mouthing, probably acting them out at
Yeah,
this point. You've seen it so many
for sure.
times. And
Yeah.
then you come to a complete halt when you hear new dialogue and Rocky in his car, in his vehicle, green means go. And you're like, wait a second, that did not happen before. This is the path that I imagine stopped you dead in your
It was
tracks.
pretty close. It was pretty close. Like I was eating dinner and I did a double
Dinner.
tick. I was like, hold on. We got something going on here. This is new. And yeah, so you heard it here first. And that's big news. I think that's probably the biggest story that we'll cover today for all you Paramount Plus subscribers out there, of which I know there are many. Meaning I know of just me and nobody else who subscribes to the platform. I assume there are others, but I have yet to meet someone who actually pays for it, except for me. So here we are.
Yeah, not happening. Not
All
happening.
right. Now that we got that out of the way, I think that might be the first news story we've ever broken on this podcast, but
That is the ticket.
that's juicy, isn't it?
We're gonna go viral.
This is it's all looking up from here, Kirk. There's nowhere to go but up. This is it.
You are the guys that broke the Paw Patrol news
The
in
big Paw
2021.
Patrol news. Yes, I know. Thank you. All right, let's jump into some real news. Let's jump into what's popping, Kirk, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. We got some big stories. Trying to decide where to start. There's so many. Lots of these are like new details about new movies, which is ultra fun. A lot of times we're like, so and so movie, this release date, but now we've got some new movie details. But I want to start here. One of the big stories over the last week is that we know that Black Panther Wakanda Forever is filming. We talked about it last time. There were some set photos, on MIT's campus that featured Letitia Wright. Well, we heard late last week that Letitia Wright was actually hospitalized after suffering minor injuries on the set of the movie. Now she's going to be okay. Emphasis on minor injuries, but this was a bit of a delay. So that's coming from Deadline. Letitia Wright was hospitalized. We don't know really what her status is now. We don't know what the status of the production is, but we know that it wasn't expected to be serious and only minor delays at this point.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting, and we will continue to follow this story for you, Kirk, you posted something on social media earlier today that there are some rumors. I think we can only call them rumors at this point because we're waiting on some other sources, bigger sources to confirm, but there are rumors that Letitia Wright has signed on for many, many more movies within the Marvel universe as Shuri, and presumably that would mean that she would take on the mantle of Black Panther.
Right. I think that while she was in the hospital bed, she was just signing contracts. She's like, this is a great time to get this out of the way. I've got a really busy schedule. So, silver lining. Yeah, I think that that's something that everyone kind of immediately not hoped for, but in the wake of Chadwick Boseman's death, they're like, well, you can't replace him. That was clear. But what's the next best thing? Letitia Wright. So that'd be super great. I've been hoping for it for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can't recast T'Challa. That was the right thing to do. It was the only thing to do. But I think, as we as soon as this movie started, we started to know this movie was under production. People started to really start to ask the question of what is next for the Black Panther franchise. And if Letitia Wright is signing on for more movies, that would seem to point in that direction. And like you said, she was the obvious choice to begin with. It has backing in the comics. She's a great actor. She stole the show really in Black Panther 1 as Shuri, played a big role in Infinity War. So I think this is the right move. I think it's interesting. We'll have to wait and see if this ever does get confirmed by a big outlet, because Marvel likes to play things so close to the vest. So sometimes you just hear these like rumblings. They end up being true, but you don't ever hear it like actually confirmed until later. But, Kevin Feige came out recently and said that they were sort of staying away from the big, 9 movie contracts that they used to sign. But, if we're talking Black Panther and we're talking about somebody who's an up and comer and young, like Letitia Wright, this is the move. That's what you kind of have to do to lock people in like that. So we'll be waiting for more information there. But for right now, we're just wishing her well, and that she gets healed up and production can resume on Black Panther. Those things are never fun when people get injured on set. Okay, next up, some new movie news. Let's talk about some new movies, shall we?
Okay.
First up, it was announced over the last week by Deadline that Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson are going to be reuniting on the screen for a new romantic action adventure titled Ghosted, which sounds, I'm just speculating at this point, but it seems like Ghosted is kind of like the generational term. Like you would think you would associate it with like modern day dating, like somebody you reach out to, they ghost you, etc. So that could be the reason, or maybe it's a double entendre. Maybe there's something to do with like ghosts in this movie.
Yes.
I don't know. But the movie is going to be directed by Dexter Fletcher, who directed Rocketman. And it's going to be released on Apple TV Plus, and all of these details are coming from Deadline. Kirk, what's your reaction to this movie? What are your thoughts?
It's so funny when you have chemistry between two actors and you just keep pairing them together like over and over and over again. I mean, people will probably forget, but there is a terrible early 2000 movie called The Perfect Score, which stars Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson about stealing the ACT scores. It's abysmal. Or SAT, whichever one it might be. And then, of course, their romantic interest in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and now this. Ghosted to me sounds exactly like that. Maybe they have a fantastic. They're both on vacation, but really they're both spies, like a la Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And one of them just stops talking to the other, and all of a sudden they meet up when they have guns in their faces because they're two spies from two different entities, and they're like, "Why didn't you call me back?" And they're shooting people. That's the scene I imagine that we'll get in the trailer if we're going down that route. And then Chris Evans dies and he becomes a ghost to support Scarlett Johansson in the rest of their mission. I think that's exactly how this plays out.
Yes. Wow. I mean, that sounds like a script that could exist. I like that. I like large parts of that.
Thank you. If it's still in pre-production, I think that you can take this whatever studio and make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, it's early. It's got to be early if we're just now getting casting news. It's definitely not too late to insert some of those great plot points that you were just dishing at into this movie. So I think it should be done. And you know what? Dexter Fletcher may have directed Rocketman, which was a great movie, but still new in the game from direction. So, I mean, if they want to bring you on board to help kind of mold that story, I think that would be a wise move on their part for Apple TV Plus.
As I've said, you and I should be consultants on every movie, because then we would make sure that their investment was secure, because we don't really tolerate bad movies. Like, we'll still give them like a proper rating, but there's lots of times we rate movies and we say, man, it could have been better. Great base. We watched Reminiscence offline, and you had great taste and intellect on that. You said it was good, but it could have been great. So
it's true. We would at least ensure that every movie that gets made we like, and that's what's most important. I think that's really, like, I don't know who else shares our views, but I would love to live in a world where I just like every movie that comes out. That would be great. No wasted effort. No wasted time there.
Another 10 out of 10 kernels from Popcorn for Breakfast.
10 out of 10, yes. No conflict of interest there whatsoever. All right, next up. more new movie news. This one has really piqued my interest. So Kenya Barris, we know Kenya Barris, the creator of Blackish, Grownish, Mixedish, I think is the new, that whole
That's right.
the ish multiverse, if that the ish cinematic universe or whatever you want to call it. He, of course, we talked about it before. He signed this massive deal with Netflix, then recently, walked away from it. It was like a 9-figure deal. But before, his contract is officially terminated, he does have a movie on the way at Netflix. And The Hollywood Reporter is reporting that the 2 stars attached to this movie right now are Eddie Murphy and Jonah Hill. Eddie Murphy and Jonah Hill attached to this Kenya Barris film, and it's going to be a comedy. It's going to be about, they're speculating that's going to be about, like how cultural differences and generational differences can shape relationships. And I just have to say, and I want to get your take on this too, that is a match made in heaven. Eddie Murphy and Jonah Hill, 2 guys with superb comedic instincts and different styles, but I feel like we'll complement each other super, super well from like even, slapstick perspective, just like a flat out, deadpan joke telling. Like, I think this is a perfect match, Kirk. What's your reaction to this?
Yeah, because Eddie Murphy's style is obviously more upfront and flamboyant, and then you have Nick Jonas or Joe Jonas, Nick
Jonah Hill, not the Jonas brother.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah, go ahead and sign off, Kirk. You're done here. You're gone.
I was just thinking Nick Jonas this whole time. I was preparing to tell you. In the back,
I
of my
saw
mind,
your facial reaction, and I was like, oh, he hates this. He doesn't like this at all.
I was like, I saw this TikTok with Nick Jonas making fun of his brother. That was pretty funny. So yeah, why not? He was like a wrestler in a TV show, and
maybe I said a Joe bro. I don't know. I'll have to go. We'll have to listen to the playback.
Probably not. So Jonah Hill is what you said, or what you meant.
That's right, least. Jonah Hill.
Excellent. Let me catch up. Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic mix of comedy right there. Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, I feel like Jonah Hill is like very underappreciated. I feel like I love him in just about everything that he's in, but I especially love him in a comedy setting. I know that he has more range than that, but he just slays. I just think the 21, 22 Jump Street, like that persona that he plays is just so money. It's so hilarious. And I could see there being reflections of that in this story if that's the route they're going. So that's exciting.
Both of them are really good at is that fighting. Like when they both have a lot of movies where they bicker at someone.
Yeah.
And they're so locked in on their honesty in that moment that you can't believe how, like, they're doubling down hard on their direction. And so seeing like a fight and then bickering, I think is going to be just all the magic in that movie, whatever it turns out to be.
Yeah, and I'm bummed that it's going to Netflix because then I can't buy the, like the combo pack with the special features and like the bloopers and outtakes and stuff like that, because the improv behind the scenes is just going to be off the charts, and there's going to be so many great jokes and one-liners that get left on the cutting room floor. I'm just like, I hope they find a way to squeeze that in somewhere.
Yes.
It would be so good. All right, moving along. I want to address something really quickly before we move on to some stuff. We talked last week about Vulture, how Vulture, the publication, was reporting that 100% Venom Let There Be Carnage was being delayed to January. Well, this week, Variety clapped back and was like, our industry sources say that it's not being delayed till January, that it's sticking with October 15th, and that appears to be substantiated by the fact that the first ever poster dropped for this movie today, and it has right at the bottom, only in theaters October 15th. So it sounds like Venom is sticking to its new date of 10/15. So mark your calendars and mark it with pin this time, because I think it's going to stay. We're getting a little too close for it to move again, I think.
Correct.
All right, moving right along. Okay. One thing that dropped today, DC Fandome, which is the DC like virtual con that they kicked off last year. It maybe it will be in person someday, but so far they've had 2 pandemic riddled years. So it was virtual last year. It's going to be virtual this year. Of course, the big story coming out of the event last year, which I actually really enjoyed, was the Batman trailer. You know, that movie was like 2 months into production and we got a trailer and everybody was like, what is happening? But DC Fandome has been announced for October 16th, so a day after that Venom date we were just talking about.
Okay.
It's going to be virtual, and here's the lineup, some of the heavy hitters. We're getting a new trailer for the Batman. We're getting what they're calling a first look at Black Adam. I would have to imagine that that's some version of trailer because that movie's well underway. So they should have something there. We're getting a sneak peek of The Flash, which will probably involve some sort of movie content. And then behind the scenes looks at Shazam! Fury of the Gods and Aquaman 2 and a sneak peek at Peacemaker, among other things. Now, worth noting, they're calling it a behind the scenes look at Shazam! Fury of the Gods, but that movie wrapped production today. Like, they're done. So there has to be enough for a trailer there. I will be fully expecting a trailer and will be disappointed if we don't get one. But out of the upcoming DC projects, either the ones that I named or didn't name, Kirk, what are you most looking forward to at DC Fandome?
You know, before the Suicide Squad, well, the Batman, obviously, that's number one.
Yeah,
without
I mean, that's
question.
sort of, yeah, that's
Just like its own separate category, right? But besides that, before the Suicide Squad, I would have said that it would have been Shazam too. But now, man, after the Suicide Squad, I'm locked in on John Cena on this Peacemaker series.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving him. Apparently he's been like going around like wearing his costume where he shouldn't be. Like on the red carpet and to just different places. And I think that's hilarious. He's just showing up in his tight spandex and his helmet. And I am loving it. I think it's hilarious. So I'm going to go Peacemaker. I'm going to go Batman, Peacemaker, Shazam.
Yeah, I think the Batman is obviously the number one choice. Getting another look at that film. There's all these rumors that they had a test screening for that movie, and there's all these people being like, "Oh man, I know somebody who saw the screening and they said this, that." It's ridiculous. I don't know if that's true or not, but there's so much noise out there that I'll be excited just to get a look at a trailer at something real instead of just all the crap that's coming out. So that's obviously number one for me. Sleeper pick number two. I did not name this as one of the projects, but DC's League of Super Pets. I don't know if you've seen, they've had like some little like teaser trailers for this. Yes. It's coming out next year. It's a feature film, and I'm hoping it'll be age appropriate for my kids because I used to watch Crypto the Superdog on Cartoon Network, and that was awesome. I loved that show, and I am stoked for the opportunity to have that. I've been begging for Pet Avengers forever, so I really hope that DC League of Super Pets is great and that we get a look at it at DC Fandome. So
yeah, Crypto is all time right there.
Crypto, man, Crypto and Ace the detective pup. I mean, there's so many great options. It's going to be amazing. Some great voice talent on display there too. Keanu Reeves is in that cast. I think Dwayne Johnson is playing Crypto. John Krasinski is in the cast. There's like tons of great voices going on there. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Excellent.
All right, moving right along. More new movie info. I've said Moo movie twice now.
I keep thinking you're going to say Moon movie.
It's horrible. I don't know what is wrong with me. My brain is broken. Okay, so we've got this Lion King prequel. A prequel to the live-action Lion King, which the live-action Lion King was basically a shot-for-shot remake of the original Lion King, but now we're getting a prequel to that movie, which the original Lion King never had a prequel. The prequel is being directed by Academy Award winner Barry Jenkins of Moonlight fame and others. And we're getting some minor plot details and some casting news. We have young Mufasa. Aaron Pierre has been cast as young Mufasa, and Kelvin Harrison Jr. has been cast as Taka, which is rumored to be young Scar. So that's, I guess his name before Scar was Taka. So take that for what you will. But they're now saying that the expected plot of the movie is going to focus on the origin story of Mufasa and presumably Scar, as well as the mythology of the Lion King world, which that part we had heard before, but the whole origin story of Mufasa and Scar we hadn't. So how are you feeling about this project?
I wonder if Taka is like a junior version of their father. and because he hates that he wasn't given the rightful throne, maybe he changes his name to
Maybe.
match his outward anger.
Yeah, because even Mufasa calls him Scar in the Lion
Yes.
King. So like that's official.
And it's not like Mufasa would like nickname his brother, right? I think Scar took that mantle and decided, I'm going to be an outcast. I'm going to call myself this, unless he was cast out by their father or maybe a council of lions. I don't know. There's so many opportunities here.
There are. I know. First of all, like I said a year ago when we first heard about this story, I want the Lion Guard lore built in here. I want all of it. The glyphs on the wall.
Yes.
I want the whole thing with the roar, all of it. I want it all. For anybody who hasn't watched Lion Guard because you don't have small children, you're really missing out. It's amazing.
Yes.
Also, I'm admittedly more interested in the Scar backstory than the Mufasa origin. Like, I have to know what's going on. Now that we know that he has a different name, like, I got to know what's happening here.
The only way that Mufasa would, because Mufasa is like your archetype perfect character. He's your Superman character, right?
Yeah.
He is your do-gooder, your Captain America. Well, what they made Captain America so great is that he came across some questionable decisions in the MCU. So Mufasa could have some questionable decisions that he has to make as king. Maybe he makes some bad decisions in this movie. That would be interesting. But I'm with you. I am more interested in Scar. What's his name?
Taka.
I
try not to say Taka because that's
right.
from Moana, but it's like Taka, Taka.
Or Taco, just
exactly.
Slip at the tongue,
Right. If they make Mufasa a jerk, I'm going to be really mad. I'm totally cool with him like making mistakes and being, imperfect. That's, I think, appropriate and should happen. But if they make him like he was a jerk to Scar and that's why Scar is the way he is, I'm going to be super ticked about that.
Yeah, kind of like in Harry Potter where Harry Potter's father is a huge jerk.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like the whole Snape thing. If they go that route, I'm going to be super mad.
Yeah, you're like, his parents were perfect. What am I watching right now? What am I, for the readers out that his father was this huge just bully. That's not fair.
Exactly. And like Snape was like the good, like he was like his real dad all along. He just didn't even know. I don't know. I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that. Please.
Nope. Stay away, Disney.
Because Scar is a murderer and Mufasa is not. So I don't know. Let's be careful, Disney. And all those details are coming to us via Deadline. Sticking in Disney, The Jungle Cruise sequel confirmed at Disney. Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt are both on board to reprise their roles via The Hollywood Reporter. Kirk, your thoughts?
Stupid. I think it's stupid.
I mean, it was always obvious as soon as the like the mass reaction was good. It was always obvious that this was going to be the route. But I have to say, I don't see it. Like, I don't see objectively. Let's say I loved it, right? I'm just looking at the plot alone and not my thoughts on the actual movie, which of course, if you go back and listen to our review, I was not super high on. But I don't see it. Like, what's the story? And they're going to have to try to balance this love story with Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt, and it was already paper thin, and I feel like it's going to be rough.
Yeah, I don't even know. You know what they're going to do? They're going to do this dumb thing that they sometimes do in sequels where there's like this other guy or this other girl that come into the picture and they mess things up. And then the main love interest who you thought were in love, it challenges their relationship. Think of High School Musical 2. That's exactly what this is going to be like.
Yeah.
It's going to be a disaster, but we are going to get The Rock singing on a golf course, screaming at the top of his lungs with some sick dance moves. But other than that, this movie is going to be a catastrophe.
That's honestly best case scenario. Now that you put it that way, like I'll take that. I would buy that for sure.
Bet on it, bet on it.
Though it would never be as good as its namesake. I think that's just a given. But yeah, I don't have high hopes for that. Even if you were the fan of the first one, I think you really have to look at the plot trajectory and go, okay, like where are they actually going to go with this? It's kind of like when they make a movie, when they make a series that's like a limited series, And then they decide they're doing a season 2. Big Little Lies.
Bingo.
There's people asking about Mayor of Easttown, and I'm like, don't you dare touch Mayor of Easttown. You leave that alone. Same with Watchmen and stuff. Like, just leave it be. And that's what should have happened with Jungle Cruise, because there's just not a clear path forward, in my opinion, at all.
No. Nope.
Okay, moving right along. Another sequel, Expendables, a new Expendables movie on the way. I think this will be the 4th one. Fourth one. And all of the old folks who are in that film are coming back, presumably. I don't know about Schwarzenegger, but Sylvester Stallone's coming back. Jason Statham, who's not that old. Dolph Lundgren, they're all back. Plus 50 Cent is joining the whatever they are, the crew, the gang, the squad, as well as Megan Fox. So it's really checking all the boxes that you would expect for I believe, a 4th Expendables film.
Well, as your father says, everybody needs a paycheck.
Everybody does need a paycheck, and that's a fact. So you can't knock them for it. And you know what? If it's made enough money, then there is a market for it, and all power to them. I can't say that I'm not going to talk down on it, because I haven't really attentively watched this series. It's just never been of that much interest to me, but seems like they're scraping the barrel here a little bit.
How many movies out there are there that are continued sequels that don't already have a story arc, right? So Harry Potter, clear direction, clear path.
Oh, right? You mean like new IP that just continues to sequel?
Right. The only successful one I can think is Mission Impossible.
John Wick.
John Wick. It's going well. There's not a really clear path, but that they can continue to make that and make it good, and not just run and gun, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think those are the 2 big ones, 2 big examples.
But Expendables, wow.
You have to realize that something like John Wick is very rare. That's why people love it. They're like, whoa, this is a new property that shouldn't have been as good as it was. Then it was, and then the sequels were good, and now we're on number 4, and everybody's hyped. That, it's a rare bird. You do not see that every day.
Even Matrix 4, there's so many polarizing feelings to Matrix 3 that.
Yeah, I think the Matrix legacy rests on Matrix 4, to be honest with you.
It does.
If it's bad, people will tank it for the rest of forever. And they'll just say, only watch the first one. So
yeah, and you're only getting one of the duo back for the directors, and it's is it going to be as good? Who knows?
We'll see. But Expendables 4, Kirk, I know, mark your calendar. That no release date yet. Hollywood Reporter is reporting that, as well as the new cast editions, so we'll keep an eye out for that. Next up, Manifest. Hashtag save Manifest was successful. They did it. And I have to say, I really admire this fandom, for better or worse. They watched the crap out of this show. They watched it so much. It's been in the top 10 on Netflix for an eternity. This is one of the best grassroots save something campaigns to ever happen on social media. I think the only thing it pales in comparison to is release the Snyder Cut. It's the only thing that has any even comes close to this. But They did it. This was a show that was canceled. Everything was done. They continuously said, no, it's not coming back. It's not coming back. It gained this massive popularity on Netflix. There were the manifestors, and of course, the great irony behind it is that the show is called Manifest. So there's a double entendre there in that they manifested this 4th and final season. But Netflix is doing the season. It's going to be 20 episodes long. And if you are a Manifest fan, I just have to say, you did it. You did it. We tip our caps to you. It was really well done. And,
I got to say, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you.
No, you.
Okay. And it just goes to show, and we've said it before, if you really want something, if you really want a piece of content, really, really badly, and you can scream at enough people and convince them to join your cause, you're going to get it, man. You're totally going to get it.
Yeah, would you say if you manifest it,
Yeah,
then you will get
exactly.
it? Yeah, and that phrase is coming around. That phrase was happening before manifest, like that kind of trend, like manifest it, speak into it,
Speak it.
speak
Yeah.
that it's going to happen, and it will happen. And this show that I just trashed as soon as it came out, the trailer
Mm,
came out, I was like, oh, it's lost again. Granted, Lost kind of like fell apart in its final act. Everyone kind of knows that, but this this resurgence, it makes me intrigued to go watch this show
doesn't it?
now. And it might be terrible. It might be
Yeah.
awful, but I think I'm gonna probably binge it after I finish The Practice, ABC on Hulu.
Thanks for the ad. That was
Yes.
good.
Just looking
Um,
for some sponsors.
I will
Come
not
on,
watch
Disney.
it. I will not watch it because I'm too much of a hipster. I'm like, I'm above. I don't know. I'm annoying.
No.
So I probably won't watch it. But I just really like those people. Give me hope. They give me they give me hope that my dreams can come true because they just started tweeting hashtag Save Manifest and everybody started doing it and boom, done deal.
Dude, free Britney,
Free
Save
Britney.
Manifest, Snyder Cut,
Zoe's
redraw Sonic.
what was that? Zoe's Extraordinary, Sonic. Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist.
Getting a movie, right?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
getting a
correct?
movie. Yes.
There's lots of
So
stuff out there.
I know,
We
and
should start
I
something.
think the Gilmore Girls thing, like low key, was a very slow grassroots movement, but one that Netflix eventually brought to fruition as well. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
All right. Well, we got to
it's
think of something to scream about.
I know the blueprint's there. I think it's gonna it's gonna have to be the Michael Keaton, Joseph Gordon-Levitt,
Yes.
Batman Beyond. That's gonna be
Yes.
our platform, which we're halfway there, to be honest. I didn't even mention the Flash when we were talking about DC Fandome. I'm sure they're gonna have something for the Flash as well.
Sure.
So yeah, that's gonna be our crusade, Kirk, and it will win. We will win at all cost.
We're gonna get you.
All
We're gonna
right.
get you, Michael Keaton.
Last thing is the No Time to Die trailer. It's the final trailer. It came out today. I have it pulled up, but I'm not going to show it on the screen just because it's a final trailer. Like I was going to show it, but I was like, it's the final trailer. We've seen big chunks of what's in this trailer already, but there is some new stuff. There appear to be some more plot details. Kirk, did you get a chance to check out the trailer? And how are you feeling about it as it is our last look at the movie before its October 8th release date?
I did. I did get to look at it. Two feelings on it. First, I don't think studios should release the one last time when a Bond is ending their reign as Bond. I think that's a little too premature. I think it should come out
Mm,
later in advertisements, maybe on advertisement that it's coming to a streaming service or it's coming on DVD. I don't think you should do it now. Then there's the other part of this where, the wait is over, obviously, because we've been waiting a long time. Like this
a
is a very
long time.
different world that the advertising is mimicking life. Like it's not even like, oh, you've been waiting for this movie to be made. No, it's been done, and we've been waiting for the pandemic to be a little bit safer to go see this movie. I ultimately liked it. I like this trailer a lot more than the other ones, even though it is a final trailer. Typically, you have seen everything. The cut of it just seemed more cohesive to what was going on. They probably got more stuff just finished, finalized, cut with whatever the right scope of it, the right lens over the entire film. So I really feel more engaged in this one. They're giving us more plot details versus the Bond girls as the advertisement. So it was a smarter advertisement. As we know, the actresses in this movie are going to be bomb. The actors in this movie are going to be bomb. But really, I wanted to see what kind of connection I could draw to it. And this one really, it got me. I'm excited. I was a little worried with Rami Malek,
Yep.
because I didn't want him to be another one note of I'm going to be creepy. I know how to be creepy. It seems like there's a well-crafted character there.
Yeah, I mean he's a great actor. I think I also worry about him being typecast and being put in position where he can't really create a role and it's just kind of being like forced into something that doesn't really work. I also don't feel like that's the case here based on what I've
Yeah.
seen. But I'll tell you what I'm really excited about. First of all, this trailer did the right thing by starting with the clips from the previous films. That was a
Mhm.
great move. It was this movement of like, all right, let's get hyped again. Let's build the momentum. We had it built up. Then the whole pandemic delay thing happened. Remember, we got Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, like all these movies building up into this final chapter. So I liked that bit of it. And I also feel like I'm very hopeful that this movie will make Spectre a better Bond movie. I really am starting to feel like it was obvious that there was going to be a heavy tie and that it would sort of be like Spectre and this film are sort of part one, part two of the finale of this series. But that feels way more true than it did before with the new stuff that we saw. And Spectre, in my opinion, always felt like an incomplete story. It always felt like it was missing something. And maybe the reason for that is that it was. And maybe what it's missing is this movie, and that whenever you go back and watch this as a continuum, you watch this as a full, quintet of films, it will all piece together really nicely, and Spectre will actually feel appropriate for where it's at in the story and what details they reveal when, in terms of, building the story arc in the right way. I still think Quantum of Solace was a miss, but one miss in a 5-film series, not bad, all things considered. Spectre, I wouldn't call a miss, but I think it, so far it's not the best. But I think if this movie is great, it's going to cement the legacy of this series as, one of the best Bond series that there has been, if not the best.
Yeah, it could be the best series because, as we got Sean Connery and he was number one. He started it off as Sean Connery's debut, and Roger Moore and even Tim Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, all those stretches of Bond characters and Bond actors. None of them ever really felt chronological. They just felt like another adventure, which is exactly what they needed to be. So the retelling of the Daniel Craig, it felt very progressive. Pierce Brosnan got very progressive, very chronological, like linear, if you will, as to where he began and where he was ending. But yeah, I think this really could be Spectre could be Bond's Age of Ultron, where it's like, wait a second, all those pieces fit together really well now. What we didn't know, what they were setting us up for. I agree. I hope it will be good. Do we know what is the updated date? I'm not even gluing myself to it.
October 8th. October
8th. Listen, I'm one movie away from finishing chronologically Roger Moore's reign, so I got to get back on this of watching all the Bond movies.
TikTok, Kirk. Your time is not your friend right now.
That's right.
Working against you, but you can do this. I have faith. I have faith in
1 month.
You got this. Just like I'm trying to read Dune book 1 in the next month, and it's slow going, I will just say, but I'm going to do it. All right.
4,000 pages.
It's seriously so long. Like I'm doing the audiobook, and it's like, I don't know, 23 hours, and each book gets progressively longer. So,
oh my gosh.
Woo doggy. That and Wheel of Time. The Wheel of Time. I was like, maybe I'll try that out. And then I was like, nope. I missed that boat by a long shot. All right. Finally, I want to bring up some things that should be on your radar to check out on streaming and in theaters coming up in the next few days. First of all, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. It's finally here. Our first new Marvel property in a really, really long time. And Kirk and I, we've secured our tickets for Thursday night. We will be there. Remember, it's only in theaters. No Disney Plus Premier Access. This is it. You have to see it in theaters. It will release on Disney Plus 45 days later, but that's 45 days, guys. You're going to get spoiled. There's going to be jokes and memes and all that stuff. Mask up, go to the theaters, make it happen. You can do it safely. Kirk and I have done it many, many times, and we'll continue to do it to support our local theater. Please go see it. I think it will be good, and we'll be reviewing it on this show next week. On that note, the Marvel one-shot short film, All Hail the King, has been added to Disney Plus. This was an extra on Iron Man 3. It relates to the Iron Man 3 Mandarin storyline and directly ties into Shang-Chi. So it's sort of a must-watch before you go check it out. It's like 13 minutes long. Go give it a watch, and it'll feed right into that movie. So that's available on Disney Plus now. Sticking with the Marvel train, What If Episode 4 drops tomorrow, September 1st. This will be the Doctor Strange Supreme. I think that's what they're calling it, Doctor Strange Supreme episode. So it's like kind of like an evil Doctor Strange thing, I think, or like a dark Doctor Strange. Looks
Yeah,
pretty
they
cool.
say, what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his
Ooh.
hands? Meaning that Rachel McAdams, what's her real character's name?
I'm blanking.
Maybe it's just Rachel McAdams in the comic books too. They just
Doctor. Oh gosh,
That's okay.
I want to
Rachel
say Doctor
McAdams
Carter or something, but it's
is in
not.
the car. In this version, she's in the car when he
Uh huh.
crashes his vehicle on the mountainside. And assuming we don't know if that means that she for sure dies or if she goes into a coma or he thinks she dies. Lots of different options, of course. But that struck me like, that's pretty clever. Pretty clever.
Yeah, for sure. And Benedict Cumberbatch is voicing Doctor Strange, so that'll be
Yes.
good to check out. This one I'm really excited about. A new series on Hulu. The first 3 episodes are now available. Only Murders in the Building, starring Selena Gomez, Steve Martin, and Martin Short.
Yes.
What a cast! And it's a whodunit series. Like I said, the first 3 episodes are on there, and then they're going to release weekly from here on out on Tuesdays, I guess. But it's out there. Go check it out. I haven't read any official reviews because I try to stay away from that. But I can say that the buzz on my timeline has been nothing but positive for the show so far. So I'm eager to go check it out. We'll see if I even make it through tonight without having checked it out. I'm very excited.
Same.
And then finally, Harry Potter fans, all the Harry Potter films return to HBO Max tomorrow, September 1st. So mark your calendars if you don't like have the box set or whatever, or if you're getting ready for your Halloween rewatch or what have you, that'll be the place to get it. HBO Max. All right, Kirk, we got a movie to review. We got games to play. Let's pop it up one last time. All right, Kirk, the word on the street is that you have a game to play.
I do. That is the word. That is the word. That is the accurate word. And the word that is most important in this game is the name of the game, the title. It is called. And can you like put this like in like letters, like make my hands like make it in front of my screen real quick when you do post prod? Is that cool
No,
with you?
I don't do post prod on the streams, but
What can you do
we
with this
can
one
imagine
time?
it. We can just imagine it, Kirk.
Okay. Imagine my hands, listeners only, and Candyman is appearing.
Candyman, yes.
Yes, I must give the naming credit to you. You texted me last week and said, the only thing I want to happen next week is a game called Candyman.
That's true. I did say that. And, my narcissism is showing, but it's true. I love, right now that's my name on Twitter, Candyman.
Yes.
I changed it. I enjoy things like that. So I was like, well, you got to come up with a game. And I left it to you. I just handed it to you from there. I was like, here you go. So I'm eager to see what this is.
Say no more. Say no more. This game, Cam, there's lots of candy in the world, but what's really incredible is that there's lots of candy in movies. That's right,
Oh,
in
no.
movies. We're going to talk about some candy in movies. You don't have to guess the movie. I'm going to pitch that to you. You just have to guess what kind of candy it is. Sometimes it's like straight up candy. Sometimes it's like kind of like a candy, like a yummy treat. That's not like cake. Like that would be a dessert, right?
Sure.
So think of like the in between candies that you can't quite unwrap. I might have said too much already, but this is Candyman.
Let's do it. I wish I had the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Dun, 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 dun. You know what I'm saying?
Dim the lights. Oh wait, that's
Dim the lights. Let's go. Oh wait, that's American Idol, isn't
that's
it?
American Idol. Whoops. Sorry, Regis. Rest in peace. The first one. Cam. What type of yummy, light, airy candy does Billy Madison consume with one of Dad's employees at a graduation party in Billy Madison?
Cotton candy.
Bingo.
Yes.
Well done.
Nailed
Well
it.
done.
I gave my own
that's
sound
fine.
effect.
Yes, I believe he's eating it with Carl, old Carl, who's been
Yes.
their mentor, business partner, Dad's business partner. And I don't know what grade he graduates, maybe second grade, maybe third grade. And they're just eating some yummy pink cotton candy
Looks
right there
delicious.
on the lawn. Billy Madison makes me pee my pants every time. If peeing your pants was cool. Next one up of this game of Candyman. What type of candy is Sloth's favorite in The Goonies?
Ooh. Juju fruit?
It is not Juju Fruit.
Dang. Why was I thinking that? It was so strong. It was so strong in my brain. I was like, it's Juju Fruit.
I mean, you answered right away.
I did. I was so confident.
It is Baby Ruth.
Oh, Baby Ruth. Give
That's
myself
right.
3 for that. That's sad.
That is okay. That is okay. There's plenty of opportunity to come back here. This famous candy, Cam the Candyman, lined the halls of this suburban home when an unexpected visitor showed up one day. I didn't give you the movie. There's an unexpected visitor.
Oh.
There's candy in the hallway.
Yeah, Reese's Pieces. It's
That is
E.T.
correct.
Yes.
That is correct. Bravo, bravo.
That's the reason. That movie is the reason. I can remember when it came back to theaters for the what anniversary must it have been? I was a kid.
Maybe the
It might have been 20th.
Yeah, I was thinking
Could have been the 20th anniversary. And they like enhanced the Reese's Pieces scene.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's the ultimate movie candy. From then on, I was like, always Reese's Pieces. And I only eat them at the movies, but that was like, it's an elite candy for that reason.
It is. And is it correct? Did they make Reese's Pieces for that movie? Is that correct?
I believe that was like the first appearance of
Its
the
debut.
candy. Yeah.
Yes. Beautiful. Brilliant. Steven Spielberg. I have all your movies. Next up, name the 2 items. This one's tricky. Very tricky. Name the 2 different items, different candy items, if you will, that make the perfect snack in Lindsay Lohan's Parent Trap. Hint.
Okay.
She's at camp.
Yes.
She has met herself
Yep.
as the twin. They're locked up together, the twins, and they're eating this yummy
It's
candy.
Oreos and peanut butter. Is that right?
That is correct, dear sir.
Yes. Yes. That's like Jackie's favorite movie. She watches The Parent Trap all the time. So I watched it as a kid, but I have to reach far back there to get it.
Oh man, I love that movie. I remember seeing it in theaters, mainly because it was almost a traumatic experience in theaters. This very just brute person behind me. I couldn't see them. It was super dark. They put their foot on my armrest, and I was like 9, and I kept trying to put my foot there, and this person kept like moving my arm off, and I was like, man, what's going on? What did I do to you?
Yeah,
that's what I remember most of The Parent Trap.
That's Bush League, man. You can't be doing that. What's going on?
But then I discovered in that scene, no one had ever shown that to me. Now you can get on TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and see all sorts of different wonderful creations. But back then, that was groundbreaking.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, before the internet, that's where you got good ideas from.
Yes, and I eat that to this day. Very much so. Like yesterday, I had an Oreo with peanut butter.
Yes, love it.
So good. This one is the final one in this game of Candyman, and it's a softball. It's sentimental. I just want to know, do you know one of the most famous candies on the Wonka elevator wall? Not the elevator, but it's somewhat of a transport, if you will, where there's wallpaper and you can taste different things. And what's the one I'm thinking of, Cam, that tastes exactly as it sounds?
Oh gosh, I've seen the Wonka movie. I've seen that movie thousands of times.
Yes, it's just before they get to the chocolate river and they get to explore all the candy. But the wallpaper, what is that one? I'm trying to find my wall.
The snozberries.
It is the
snozberries.
snozberries.
Taste like snozberries.
That's right. Bingo.
That's why it wasn't coming to me right away, because it was like a made up thing. But yes, of course.
Yes, and that is Candyman.
Yes, Kirk. Let me see if I have a round of applause sound effect for you. Yeah, Kirk. Woo! And yay me. I got like 4 out of 5 or something like that. That was pretty good.
You're wonderful.
That's pretty good. I mean, you intentionally make the games easy because you fear my wrath, and I appreciate that.
I won't make that mistake anymore.
Like, don't make me look like an idiot. But no, I mean, seriously, I am so bad at those games that that was hard for me, and I did pretty well. So
you did wonderful.
We'll take it.
Yes.
But now, Kirk, it's time for me to ask you a question. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Here's my question to you. Who can take the sunrise, sprinkle it with dew, cover it with chocolate and a miracle or two? Who can do it, Kirk?
Candyman.
No,
Candyman,
no,
Candyman.
stop. Yeah, stop there. Let's stop there. because I have a not a mirror in front of me, but I have a camera in front of me, but I also have a window and I can see myself in it. And
Yes,
so we're
Black
just gonna
Mirror.
leave it. We're gonna leave
Black
it there.
Mirror.
But yes, we're talking about Candyman today. We're talking about Candyman. I gotta stop saying it. But we're gonna we're gonna talk about this film. Kirk, you are due for synopsis if you are prepared for that.
This is going to be more of a combo because this movie is a sequel, which I don't think either of us were prepared for it to
Correct.
be a sequel. The original movie came out in 1992. It was very groundbreaking, just because of how clever it was. It was a new horror character in the world that had who was already saturated with crazy characters. You know, Eraserhead, Phantasm, one of my absolute favorites, Mike Myers. The list goes on. There's just billions and billions of horror characters, and this one kind of changed that mold. It turned into more of a thriller. I mean, Cameron, you said that the original was not as scary as this one.
Correct.
As the sequel, and I thought they did a great job for myself walking into this, not knowing it was a sequel and understanding every piece of the movie, every moving part. I didn't feel left out. Like, man, I bet that was a really cool plot line from the first one. I felt really included and in the know. So bravo, Jordan Peele. What we find that happens in this movie, based on this ancient lore of a fable, if you will, that is true in this world, at least in the world of Candyman, is that there were some crazy things that happened, I believe, in the 1800s. Some people who were thought to be, in a way, bewitched. There were some sacrifices made, and because someone was killed erroneously, he lived on to haunt and to send a message. And what's fantastic about the storytelling here is that it's not just, okay, he's living on to haunt again, living on to haunt again, living on to haunt again. We get this social justice wrapped up in this, with the lives of African Americans, in that he lives on to tell the tale because not only was he erroneously killed, he was a black man that was killed, more so strictly upon the color of his skin, versus anything else. Because I believe it's a black man and a white woman who had a child. Is that right? At least
That's
there was a
right. That's
relationship.
right.
Yep.
Yep.
So they had a child, and that's why at the core of this, it is a fight for equality. I just my mind was blown by this movie. I did not expect all of these different facets to come about. And what we find is ultimately in the sequel, I'm going to talk forever. In the sequel, we get Yaya, who plays a wonderful character by the name of Anthony McCoy. He is an artist, struggling artist, although he's got a fancy apartment because his girlfriend that he is very much in love with has a fancy job, and he's trying to make it. You see his art on the wall. He's doing some cool stuff. He just hasn't made it yet. Well, he gets an idea of inspiration, if you will, of the lore of Candyman, and then he gets obsessed with it, and then ultimately we find out that Candyman lives on, very much so, in our world today.
Yes. Yes. It's a great call. I think, and I'll talk about it more later. Spoiler alert from me. I'm going to spoil myself here, but the fact that this would refer to this as the only direct sequel to the original film. Honestly, it's not a
Mhm.
remake. It's not a retelling. I mean, in a way, it is both of those things because of the gap and because of the way that they go about the storytelling. But it is also a straight up sequel to the original. And there are Candyman sequels. They take place in different areas, and I wouldn't really consider them direct sequels to the original. This one is. So it's interesting. It's much different than I was anticipating, for sure. But great job, Kirk. Let's dive into it. Let's start with our acting awards, as we always do. And I want to know who your best actor was in this film. Who's the Oscar going to?
The Oscar is going straight to Yahya Abdul Mateen II. He continues to just shine through the screen. I mean, what's beautiful about his role here is Yahya is basically a specimen of a human being, and in real life. I mean, He's probably 170 pounds, 6'4" of pure muscle. I don't even understand how that's possible. But it is just incredible to watch him. There's a moment of dialogue where his girlfriend's brother, Troy, states very early on in the movie, because they're like quipping at each other, and he says, "Why don't you go put down those weights and pick up your paintbrush so you can support my sister?" I love that line. It's like daggers. It's so good. And yeah, as Anthony, he's like, "True, not a, you're right. I gotta do my part, right? I gotta support her." There's something so great to that, because Yaya just looks like just like this piece of meat. At first glance, you're like, "Oh, look at him. He's just like perfect. Congratulations." No, you see just this, that's like this false facade, this red herring, if you will, because you immediately start seeing a real person in every role that he plays, but especially this one, where what you see is not what you get, which we really had the rug pulled out from under us on this. What we saw as, oh, this is a haunting tale, a recurring haunting that jumps from one person to the next. Maybe at least the first half of it kind of felt like that, and then it just unravels into this greater being, greater meeting for everyone involved. What Yaya does as Anthony McCoy is, you see him become growingly obsessed with Candyman, from just the amount of notes that he must have taken to himself of the progression of becoming Candyman. Was incredible. I kind of thought of it as like Eddie Redmayne in The Theory of Everything. His body deteriorates, his muscles deteriorate. Well, Yaya gets bit by that bee in the projects, and then ultimately it just starts creeping up his arm into his neck, and he becomes the Candyman. You see the hive, right? The hive makeup, and he just, there's not a moment that he misses, that he like steps back, that he steps out of it. He is just, the progression is so perfect that I don't know of many performances that are that precise, but that open at the same time, because he's also this artist who has these, like, this fluid of movement when he walks around, and this kind of a little bit of carefree attitude. All of those elements, I cannot speak enough on how Yaya is one of my favorite actors on the scene right now, and easily takes the throne.
I 100% agree, Kirk. I am amazed by what Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is able to do on the screen. He's new on the scene. I was first introduced to him, I think, as you were, with Watchmen on HBO, where he played Cal. Holy smokes, what a performance he gave in that one. Something that's understated, nuanced, beautiful performance that just grows in significance as the show grows, and it's incredible. But also stole the show in the Trial of the Chicago 7. He's in the cast of, I believe he's in the cast of Furiosa coming up. He's also in the cast of Matrix. What are they calling it now? Revelations?
Resurrections.
Resurrections. Mm-hmm. One of those R words. So he's in the cast of that. He's in a ton of stuff coming up. And man, if he's going to be Jordan Peele's muse going forward, I think it's a match made in heaven. I mean, Jordan, to be clear, Nia DaCosta is the director of this film, and we'll talk plenty about her and what she brought to the table, but this is a Jordan Peele film produced by his production company. He was also one of the co-writers and sort of in his universe of horror films. But, you know, he's worked with Daniel Kaluuya. He's worked with Lakeith Stanfield, you know, both incredible actors in their own right. I mean, when you think about it, all the great young actors that we have right now, Hollywood is in a great place. And I think Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is perhaps, you know, the one that I'm most excited about as a performer. I just think what he brings to the table is electric. And I think you hit on it a little bit. I think the character study that he did for this role was next level, because he ends up, over the progression of the film, becoming Candyman. And the original Candyman was iconically played by Tony Todd in the 1992 film. And he bears a striking resemblance to Tony Todd in a certain light. I think that's why I liked the original casting, just from a look perspective. I just mixed perspective and aesthetic. From a look perspective, my brain is really not working tonight. But I liked it, and then when he started delivering and when he started to build this character, it was like, wow, this is really nuanced. This is really next level stuff that he's doing. And it was great. A really complicated character, but it all builds to that, it culminates to that final scene where he completes his transformation into the Candyman, and he delivers, in the first movie, there's this, Candyman is like delivering these like booming voiceovers that are kind of eerie, and when he finally transforms into Candyman with the final scene with the cops, he's doing the "I am the writing on the wall, I am the sweet smell of blood," and it's just like when that happens, it's like goosebumps. You're scared, but you're loving it. You're like, oh, this is so awesome, and the transformation could not have been more perfect, and I think it was just due to a really cash money performance by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. I loved it. It won't get, I don't know that it'll get award commendations or anything like that, but it's one of those performances that you just have to sit back and really love and enjoy, and it's something that I'll want to revisit in the future for sure. For sure.
I love what you say about awards. The only other movie of a horror thriller caliber that we know of is The Silence of the Lambs, Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress. And could we see that with this movie? Maybe.
It's possible. I mean, it's going to be a really competitive year. I think that's the thing that I come back to. And, I think there's a lot for the Academy to like about this movie, and we'll talk about scores, obviously, but the acting performances were second to none. I thought they were so good. And that's the perfect segue to move into Scene Stealer, Kirk, and I want to know who your Scene Stealer was for this film.
This one, man, pretty easy for me. Miss Tiana Paris. Tiana Paris. You know her, of course, from WandaVision. She plays, oh my goodness, what's her character's name?
Monica Rambeau.
Thank you, Monica Rambeau. She is exquisite in that role, and that was her debut for us. She's been in other things, but that was her debut, and seeing her in this light, you immediately received just a whole nother color to her. Warm, vibrant, real. When she got angry, you felt how angry she was, but it was a real anger, not like a forced, like, I'm acting angry now, I'm going to be angry at you. How dare you, Anthony? Like, she was like sarcastic angry, but like there's like these loving undertones in there, and it was so full. There was just a fully developed character that was nothing like her counterpart, of course, in the MCU, that I'm sure we'll see again for many years to come. I loved it. She captivated me. She was restrictive at times, which is often a trick that actors do in order for you to like draw in nearer to them. So, right, like if you want to cry, don't cry. Like just let your eyes well up with tears, and maybe just barely let them come out. If you can, don't let them fall. Don't let them fall if it calls for it. There were times where you're just like, she's going to scream her head off right now, and she didn't. And then there was only like one blood-curdling scream that you heard, and it was cut too. It was like you heard it start, and then it was drawn out from you because the direction on this movie was exquisite. I just imagine that this was just a full-on playground workshop for all of these actors. But Tiana, bravo.
Yep, I am also going with Tiana Paris, Kirk. I think, there were good performances all around the board. These two were the ones to really highlight. You mentioned Monica Rambeau. Good news for fans of this movie and fans of WandaVision. Nia DaCosta is the director of The Marvels, which is the sequel to Captain Marvel, and which will feature, Photon, Monica Rambeau, whatever you want to call her. So Nia DaCosta and Tiana Paris will be reunited on the silver screen again in the MCU. So that's very exciting off the heels of this. But this performance, what I love about it is the character arc really enriches what she's doing from the performance, and she enriches the character arc. So while Yahya Abdul-Mateen's character, Anthony McCoy, is, completing this long transition of turning into Candyman over time, Tiana Paris, her character, Brianna Cartwright, is going in the opposite direction, but they both sort of meet at the same place at the end. And so it, again, a complex character, one that you have to measure and make sure that you are reacting just the right way to information you're being told. Again, they have to grow farther and farther apart each interaction that they have, but at the end, they need to meet at a place of mutual understanding for the plot to be effective. And it has to feel real and authentic and believable. And I think because she gave such a great performance, it went off without a hitch. And it actually made for a really stunning finale visually, cinematically, from an acting perspective, all of it. Just really swell. And I think that Teyana Paris was the driving force behind that. I mean, we gushed about her in WandaVision. As soon as she came on the screen, it was like, whoa, this is star power. I mean, just truly takes over, and it's great. And this was no different. So, what an exciting duo. I was loving every second of it. It was so good.
Yeah, yeah. This, oh gosh, I can't, I just want to talk all about it. This is going to be a 7-hour episode, ladies and gentlemen, because it was just so exquisite. When you talk about they started at different places and had to meet, we saw them immediately in love, and then we saw their paths kind of take off. It's, for my musical theater nerds out there, there's a musical called Last 5 Years where, they're going through a divorce, and one person at the beginning of the story is at the beginning of their relationship. They're telling it on 2 different timelines, where they're like so happy, in love, excited. The guy is, and the girl, she is devastated. She basically just finalized their divorce, filed the papers, and they just go and they cross at a couple different points where you see like light, and then you also see darkness in their relationship, and that very much was here too. And just what an incredible expression of a relationship. It was so real. It was so real.
Absolutely. All right, let's move over to the technical side of analyzing this film, and let's talk about showstopper and what it was that our director Nia DaCosta, or her production team and the cast and crew, pulled off that really took your breath away, Kirk.
Yeah, it definitely has to go straight to the director, because the storytelling in this film was absolutely incredible. I'm going to hit on 2 specific things. The Candyman can only kill you, or his gateway to you is through a mirror, right? Say his name 5 times, and he will come and take you away in various horrible, horrifying ways. So we immediately were just like totally horrified that the movie operator at Marcus Theaters, O'Fallon, Illinois, had somehow messed up the digital play tape on this thing, because you get the production companies and everything is in reverse, everything is mirrored. I'm looking at Cam, it's like, is that on purpose? Is this like part of the joke here?
Well, yeah, backstory there is that one time you and I went to go see Iron Man 2 at midnight, and halfway through the movie, it flipped upside down, and they had to turn it off, and we had to go home having only seen half of the movie. So you and I were both like triggered hard.
Yes. Yeah. And that experience, they actually like made everyone wait, full theater, packed, hundreds of people. Made us wait, gave us free snacks. We're like, sweet, great consolation, great choice. And then they sent us home because they tried to play it again.
It was like 45 minutes.
Man, devastating. Free popcorn, free soda, but I would have rather seen the movie because I then had to come back the next day. Worth it. I digress. The storytelling in this movie, we see the mirrors and they pop up, and then we see the city, and you don't know of Chicago. You don't know if you're going forward or if you're going back, if you're rising or if you're falling. Just absolutely incredible cinematography work, absolutely incredible mirroring the plot line, mirroring the storyline of this movie. And there are mirrors all over the place, but not like in your face. It's more of an introduction in that aspect. We very early on see the characters looking in mirrors. We see the what's her name, the critic who comes to Anthony's show, or the mutual show with all the different artists, and you see her face double-sided, right? There's a lot of references. I can't wait to buy this movie so I can see more of it, because they're all throughout, and they're just kind of hidden in different places where it's not in your face. So the subtlety and the clear, but also the clear connection to what the duality of every single character, as everything is not as it seems, there are two sides of this story. It's not just a haunting; it's also a bigger issue that this was a hate-filled crime, and the reason the Candyman comes back is because he's trying to solve the problem, as what ghosts do. They have unfinished business. So all of it together, just an incredible story. We see this artwork come alive too. So mirrors and the art that plays into the artistry of this movie. We see, they tell the story of the original film through through a child's eyes to make it super simple for you, with like little paper cutouts and silhouettes of like flashlight shadows on the wall, which also plays against white versus black. That very critical, very tense thing that we have in our nation still, and in the world. This 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 director knew exactly where she was going. Jordan Peele knew exactly where he was going with this. The characters, the actors knew what they needed to do because of that leadership. And then a little behind the scenes stuff. I did see an article where Nia said that she got pushback from a crowd or a council of white executives that were above her and Jordan, and there weren't they got some sass, like with either their choices or just policies on set, something of that degree, that she is a little excited to take a break from it, even though she's very passionate about the work that she does, to be going and doing a superhero movie, because it was so hard. She lives that every day anyways, but then to be in a place where she can express that work, and then in the industry also still have to battle it when the piece that she's putting out is that. So there's so much wrapped in this movie that I mean, again, I could go on and on and on and on, but the storytelling between the mirrors and the artistry and how they reflect each other is really spectacular.
Yeah, great call, Kirk. Good, lots of good nuggets in there. I think my showstopper is down a similar line, but with a totally different angle on it in terms of, the actual narrative itself. And for me, it's really about how this one enhances the first film. So I think, again, like Kirk said, if you haven't seen the first movie, no biggie. Your bases will totally be covered. You don't need to have seen it. They get you all caught up. They do it in a very stylish way. It's nice and easy. So Kirk and I have the dual experience. He hadn't seen the first one. I had. But the way that this movie enhances the first one is everything. I think if you haven't seen it, you should go back and watch it, or if you're waiting to see it, whatever. Like, the two work together so nicely. What's interesting is I felt strongly about the first film that, first of all, it wasn't an effective scary movie. I didn't find it overly effective. It didn't scare me. A few cheap jump scares, nothing that really sticks with you from a scare perspective. But from a theme perspective for a horror movie, it was eons ahead of its time for 1992. It was hitting on things, even, like racial issues have always been talked about. I mean, have been talked about in film for a long time, just in a more passive, deeply thematic way. And Candyman was one of those movies that really elevated that to the forefront, and then still had deep themes on top of it. So the whole story with the first one is you've got Helen Lyle, who's this researcher who's looking into the story. She's a white woman. She's learning about the gentrification of Cabrini Green, Chicago, the class struggle, the race struggle, etc. She ends up having an experience with Candyman, and then ends up getting framed by Candyman for all these murders. It's actually Candyman who's killing all these people, but it keeps looking like her. She's always in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so it's sort of this projection of the African-American experience in the United States onto a white person, and it all culminates to this final scene where she sacrifices herself for a young African-American baby, saves the baby, and then dies to defeat Candyman. But she understands then why Candyman is sort of necessary, and there's this whole play on like that sacrifice was necessary for progress to be made. And it's really, it's like next level stuff. If the movie was more effective, I think it would, be remembered as like this incredible piece of art, because it takes on some crazy stuff. So jump ahead to this movie, where they take that and they go, hey, the things that you couldn't say in the first movie, we're going to say it, and we're going to say it on 11. Like, we're going to go there. We're going to go as far as we need to go with this story. And so you get this situation where similar stories, you've got Cabrini Green, you've got gentrification, talking about how, you know, the politicians and the white community moves into these areas of, you know, the ghetto, or, you know, lower income, primarily black housing, goes in there and separates, cuts it off so that it becomes the ghetto, and then comes in, pushes all the black people out, and makes it, you know, something that we've seen. That's something that's happened in our world. So you've got that theme. You've got this theme of like storytelling, folklore, which I loved. It was so rich. This idea that you have to remember where you came from, and that if you lose that, then you lose your ability to move forward. And I was like so beautiful. And they tell that whole story with Teyana Paris, where she is experiencing success, but she's still running into some of these same hurdles. But she's like, no, the Candyman isn't real. We don't need the Candyman. While Yaya's on this other path where he's seeing all the hurdles that still exist, all the issues that still happen. And it culminates at the end where there's this situation where she is in, you know, it comes to full focus. Like, no, there are still problems in this world, and you can't run away from the past. You have to embrace it. The past being Candyman. We need Candyman to move forward. And so then it becomes this story of like Candyman being almost a hero, a protector of the black community, particularly in, you know, inner city Chicago. And man, it's just like rich as all get out. And whether or not you agree or what have you, if you have different, I mean, there's always differences of opinion. I, you know, can't comment much on the black experience in the United States, but what I can say is that it's extraordinarily thought-provoking, and wherever you land on it, it's like, wow, it's powerful, it's well done, and it's strong. Like you said, Kirk, they were facing pushback from the studio. Well, they did not pull any punches, man. They did not pull any punches at all. They go to where they need to go to tell the story. They lay these seeds for all these different themes, but none of them are left incomplete. They're all brought to fruition, and it culminates, I think I've said culminates like 15,000 times tonight. But it all sort of builds to this final conclusion that is just a great payoff, a really great payoff with the final Candyman reveal in an epic scene with VFX and music. And it's cinema, you know, like the Martin Scorsese meme, like this is cinema. It's that. So Nia DaCosta, incredible work by her and team. And we'll move over to the other side of the production and talk about some notes for her and her production crew. What you got, Kirk? Director's shoes.
Man, not much. It was a really tight movie, really tight. I love, this is like movie therapy for me a lot of the times, because I'll see a movie and I'm like, okay, I think I know how I feel about it. And then you and I start talking. And I'm like, no, I know now. I know now, Cam. This is what I'm feeling this tonight. There's really not a lot of setbacks in this. I'll say, unfortunately and specifically, I think I'll say two things. I think what do you call it? The art gallery curator, whatever that guy's name, the creep who like hit on the interns.
Yep.
And like tricked them. Oh goodness. Which is probably why I hated him, because it was like he was such a sleazy character. I think he was miscast. I think he could have been a little bit more intense, a little bit more. There wasn't enough to him being the first kill, or I guess the second kill in the movie. I feel like there should have been a little bit more there that gave us just cringe factor, even though the opening, their deaths, him and the girl he was tricking and manipulating was great. Their deaths were great. It's a weird sentence to say. And then the second thing I want to say is on Teyana Paris's character, Brianna, is that her storyline, her and her brothers, Troy, their storyline of their father was not amped up enough. This movie was a tight 90 minutes, 91 minutes, something like that. And they talk about how her father, he committed suicide right in front of her eyes. And I thought there was so much more there. She does a fantastic job, Teyana Paris does, of conveying that in the few opportunities that she gets. Same as Troy. I think they might actually be siblings, but just based on their give and take. There was more there to be explored. If you're giving us that information, that should affect us in a little bit deeper of a way. And I don't think we got there with them. And I almost think it would have been better to completely have it outside of this film, rather than put it in. So they should, if you wanted that 90-minute mark, take that part out, because it was probably 4.5 minutes of screen time anyways. But if you wanted to give that to us, we need an extended version of that.
Yeah, I'll buy that. I think those are both good notes. For me on director shoes, two things. First is not even about the movie; it's about the trailer. I think the fact that it was so evident in the trailer that the film was about Yahya Abdul Mateen II's character Anthony McCoy turning into Candyman, that you know that going in, and I wish I hadn't, man. I really wish I hadn't known. I don't think I would have lasted long in the movie before I figured that out, but it would have been really satisfying to be like, oh, I see what they're doing. You know, like, because they built it so beautifully. I just really thought, you know, from narrative, it was so solid that I was like, man, can't you have structured the trailer in a way where it wasn't clear that that's what they were building toward?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get it. You got to get people to see the movie, and maybe that helps. But I think that was a bad move. It took a little bit of the wind out of my sails as a viewer. But the other thing is actually the VFX, which were minimal. I think most of the effects were practical. I thought there were situations in which there were not practical. Like there were practical effects that could have been used, but they didn't for whatever odd reason. Like I'm particularly looking at the art gallery scene where the projector screen rips. It like looks really fake, and it shouldn't. You know, it should be something that's pretty easy to pull off with practical effects. And overall, the direction was bold and artsy and had a great aesthetic and consistent feel. And I appreciate that. But there were times where the visual effects were a little bit too bold. Like the stylistic choices were a little bit too out there, that it sort of made some of the kills look ridiculous. Like particularly when the art critic gets like, you're zooming out, you get like kind of the rear window shot there, Alfred Hitchcock style, where you're zooming out from the apartment complex and you see her being like killed by Candyman, the invisible Candyman in this case. And it just looked very fake, and it was odd. I feel like there was a better way to go about that. So there were a couple instances of that. Additionally, like some bee situations where the bees looked kind of fake. So those were, you know, that happens. It's a lower budget movie. Sometimes it's actually more expensive to do things practical than with VFX, actually more often than you would think. So I get it. But there were parts where it kind of took me out of it. So just little minor notes there.
Yep.
All right.
Agreed.
Let's move into final thoughts and scores. Kirk, you have the floor.
This is a tough one. I will say that I did not watch the trailer very many times to understand that. So I did go in blind. I did not know that he became Candyman.
Oh, good. That's
yeah,
good.
and I guess that's just pure luck that I didn't know, because like obviously, like who else would have become Candyman or whatever? Because I told you at the end of the movie, I was like, I think Tony Todd is dead. Like as we were walking out of the theater. So when they showed him CGI'd on Yaya, I was like, no, I think he passed away unfortunately a couple of years ago. Nah, he's alive and well, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, I knew nothing about this going in, and man, was my mind blown in such a positive way. I think that this movie, in a way, I don't believe I'm the target audience for this movie, but man, did it resonate with me. I think that, or maybe that's because I'm the exact person who needs to see this movie, whichever one it might be. I am so thankful that I saw it. I'm thankful that this exists. Oftentimes we see movies and we think of movies as just entertainment, and they really are. But what movies do for us is they're a way to articulate things that we can't say in normal life. They're a way to open up conversations for dialogues that can't happen in normal life. You know, whether it be with your coworker or your friends, as close as they might be. Things like this transcend that, and I was so just blown away by the narrative, by the message of this movie, of this film. And I really do hope it gets notoriety and awards, not because that's the only thing that puts that's what proves movies or films, but that's what gets it to people who may not be as passionate about films as us. They kind of like wait to hear what the good movies are, what the good films are, but to put this right in their face, some people go and they watch all of the winners of the Academy Awards after, of the Sundance Awards after. That's why I want this to win all the accolades it deserves. Big on my list. I never thought I'd give what would somewhat can be considered as a horror film. It's more so of a thriller than anything else. I'm giving this a 9.5 out of 10 kernels today.
Woo, doggy. Big score, big score alert. That's going to be the official sound effect of scores in the 9. It's just going to be me going, woo, doggy. I don't know why I went for that route. I don't know.
Record it, put it in the roadie. Let's go.
Let's fire it up. Yeah, man, that's a big score. I love it. I love to see it. Yes, my score. I've been toiling over this for the last 24 hours as Kirk and I saw this movie last night, which is unfair. I feel like I needed more time to spend with it, to think about it, and I certainly will after this. But first of all, got to give my flowers to Nia DaCosta, who's a relatively new director on the scene. We've talked about her. Great story, Nia DaCosta. She went to the NYU Tisch School for the Arts, heavily inspired by Martin Scorsese, and, got to work with him or meet him and talk to him. That was his alma mater as well. So very cool story there. The fact that her first movie was funded on Kickstarter, Little Woods, based on a short film that she created. I just love it. I love it. And this was her big, I say big budget. It really wasn't that big of a budget of a film. In fact, it made almost $23 million in its initial weekend, which is big for the pandemic era, and actually makes it the first film directed by a female Black director to debut at #1. So it's all very exciting, and I feel like, for it to be happening to Nia is great, and I can't wait to see her future work, because I thought she just brought an exceptional flair to this movie. Beautifully shot, beautifully structured. Like you said, a tight 90. It felt longer in a good way. That was cool. I liked that a lot. So often we come on here and we talk about pacing. You had 2.5 hours and you spent so much time on this or that, or you wasted all your time. This was tight and thoughtful, and they did it the right way. I can't say enough. The acting performances were great. The story arc was great. I love the way it played off the first one. I love the way that it enriched and enhanced the first one and brought all of that in. Thematically, very sound. I think there are a few blips here and there from a, like I talked about in director shoes, from a production standpoint. I think the story at times is a wee predictable as it builds out, but I really thought it was great. So I got to go 8.5. I really thought it was a great movie. I'm excited. I agree with you, Kirk. I hope that it gets some award. I really hope it gets some award accolades. I'm excited about this movie. I love what Jordan Peele's doing, man. Yes. He brings so much to the table as a voice. Such a creative guy, and if he continues to attract other great creators like Nia DaCosta and people, other people that he's working with, great actors. He's going to make quite a stir in the film industry before it's all said and done. And I got goosebumps just saying that. I mean, he's going to be one of these guys that we look back on and we go, wow, remember when Jordan Peele was getting started? Remember what that was like. And we're going to be going back and looking back at these movies and the social impact that they had. And it's cool. It's cool. It feels like we're on the ground floor of something something big. So it's exciting. Candyman.
Yeah, Candyman.
Yeah, you posted that thing on social this morning about who's going to do the Candyman challenge. I for sure did it when I got home last night. I was like, let's just get this out of the way.
You did it?
I did. Well, my wife was awake. I was like, in a mirror, let's do it. Fire it off real quick. So if I end up dead, you guys know what's up. It's happening.
Oh my gosh.
But last thing, I love that Candyman only appeared in the mirror. There was this weird thing going on in the first movie where it's like he was there, but he wasn't, but he was like coming out of the mirror, he didn't, but the fact that you could only see him in the mirror and that they were doing these invisible kills was sick. I loved it. I thought
Yes.
it was really great. Pee your pants meter. Okay, let's do this real quick.
Let's do it.
Pee your pants meter. First of all, for anybody who's new to the program, Kirk and I are huge wimps. Major. We are so scared. I always, I'm starting to really love the horror genre as I watch more and more. But I always have a little bit of a hesitation when we're going into one of these things. So keep that in mind whenever we give these scores. Okay, so score from 1 to 10. 10 being you're peeing your pants. It's so scary. Where does this rank? I am going to go first, and I am going to give it. Do we do half points?
Absolutely.
Have we ever done that?
We can do whatever we want.
I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. Like a 5.5. I didn't think it was like, I don't know. I could see how you would be maybe looking over your shoulder. Obviously, the big shtick of the mirror, that is an inherently scary idea, right?
Yes.
We all have a mirror. We all look into it. You're all, the idea of something being behind you in the mirror is horrifying. That just is what it is. And they used it a lot more in this movie than they did in the first movie. And so it made it more effective. But the overall scares themselves, pretty lowbrow. A couple of jump scares here and there. Nothing really nobody running at the screen. Nothing to really give you the fear goosebumps. Just a couple of jump scares. There's the part where Yaya's picking at the scab.
Ooh,
that was more gross than anything. I couldn't handle that. But yeah, I think it's a 5.5. It leaning closer to 6 than 5 for me, but that's where I'm at. Kirk, what you got?
I would say, yeah, this movie is more anxiety inducing than anything else because you're just like, this could all be fixable. Like, I mean, in a greater scale of things, if people would just do right and not be evil. Like, it sounds like such a simple ask, but then every day in the news, I'm baffled by just crazy, insane things and interactions. My rating is a little bit lower than yours, and I thought I was a bigger baby. For reference, we went to Universal many years ago in Florida, and there was a Walking Dead like walkthrough where like basically like a haunted house, if you will. And I used Cameron. Now Cameron's what, 6'3"?
6'4", yeah.
6'4".
On a good day.
I'm 5'8". I used him as a human shield.
Yeah, it was a good call.
Ran through there. I mean, I was literally moving him like at times when I was most scared. And yeah, this one felt more like a thriller to me. And the grossest part, like you said, he's picking at that scab. His nail comes off. I can't stand that.
Oh, the nail, yeah.
Dude,
gross.
Do you remember the foot commercial, like with the foot fungus like commercial?
Oh yeah, they
like
lift up the nail. Yeah, dude. Totally.
Man, it makes me queasy just thinking about it. That moment, I don't know if you saw me, I literally just looked to my right until I felt like it was over because I couldn't handle it. But this one gets a 4 out of 10.
Wow, Kirk. Getting brave on me.
As I continue to shield you in front of me, yes.
Yeah, watch out for Kirk in the event of a zombie apocalypse. That's not a guy you want to be around. He's going to throw you under the bus as soon as his first opportunity. All right.
Otis you.
Yeah, exactly. You're just going to leave me for dead. All right. We're turning the page on Candyman. And now for our promised palate cleanser. Let's do this quick-ish. Schoolyard pick of candy. Not movie candy, not candy categories. I'm looking for specific types of candy, specific, brand name, product name types. All right. One massive caveat that I have to add so I don't get roasted on social media. I am allergic to chocolate. Yes. So chill. Okay. And here's what I would say. If I name something that's chocolate, which is possible, there are some on my list because I've dipped my toes into that water before. Just know that means I think it's really good because I'm willing to risk my own health and safety for a taste. So just take that as it will. Okay, let's get started. It's me first. We each get to pick a team of 5. If you guys haven't been around for Schoolyard Pick, we each pick a team of 5. No duplicate picks. We have to go unique picks. So my first pick, I'm going with mini Chewy sweet tarts. Okay. These are the little round ball sweet tarts that you can get at concession stands pretty much anywhere. Great candy. They've got the right balance of sweet. There's a lot of tang there. You can eat them in bunches. They make your teeth hurt. They're absolutely delicious. They're just very straightforward. I have to go with that. The mini
Excellent.
chewy sweet tarts. They're good for any occasion. I think that's the thing. Great movie candy. Great, just like summer kicking it type candy. Stockings, Christmas, Halloween, Easter. It's perfect anytime. They're a really versatile candy. So I have to go start there.
Versatile came to mind. I'm glad you took that out of my mouth. My pick goes to classic, the king, Reese's. Or Reese's,
Specifically Reese's Cups.
Reese's Cups.
Just so we're
OG.
talking the same language. The actual original size.
Yes,
right?
the original size, it comes in twos. I mean,
Yep.
there's nothing better than that. Like it's the perfect amount. Often as a kid, I was like, why aren't there like 6 of these in here? And then they did that. They made it the king size, and there are that many. But really, just the 2 count. You get it in your Lunchable as your dessert, your sweet. You punch out the middle, you eat that center, and then you chew out the crust, the little crustier side of it too, and just incredible. Peanut butter and chocolate. If it wasn't apparent by my Parent Trap reference of Oreos and peanut butter earlier, this is what dreams are made of. Just I would dream Reese's if I could. There you go.
Yeah, that's a good pick. There may be future Reese's picks. We might get more specific. just a little teaser there for you. Okay, my second pick. I'm gonna go with what I think is a really underrated candy. The Sprees.
Beautiful.
I think Sprees are great. Chewies, they're both fantastic. I'm partial to the Chewy ones because they are a bit softer than the mini Chewy sweet tarts, which make them an ideal candy. But the original, the non-Chewy, really has a zing to it that is nice. I think each one, this is one of those candies where each color has a really distinct flavor, and so you start to like pick it out, which I think is unique for like a sweet tart-esque candy, for each one to have its own unique flavor to it. So I like the reds and the purples. That's where I spend my time and focus my attention when I get some Sprees.
Yes.
But I think that they are an underdog pick. I don't think a lot of people navigate there, but I've never met someone who hates them. And I think that means something.
Yeah, I think they need like a reboot, like a resurgence, because I never think of Sprees anymore. I never really
They need a
crave
packaging
Sprees.
refresh, a marketing campaign. I agree.
Yeah,
They need to go for it.
That was my candy as a kid, going to the movie theaters with my family every time. It was always the Sprees box will pop out.
Yeah, sure.
Or the gas station and take it in, because I was a thief. So yes, I would agree. Spree, beautiful choice. My next choice is something of a new product out there. We are not getting paid for this, but happy to get paid for this. Is that Skittles has released a gummy version of their classic candy. That's right, Skittles Gummies. I've probably spent over $100 at this point over the past 2 months in this item. I mean, it comes in a bag. Basically, think of like a Lifesaver Gummies bag. It looks just like it, but they have concocted the perfect formula of Skittles in gummy form. Don't hate me, I think I love it more than the original Skittles.
Whoa!
Maybe I have sensitive teeth. I don't know. But I love it. Gas stations have them. It was like a slow burn. Like, I found them by surprise at my local gas station about like 10 blocks from my house. Now Target has them. The grocery store has them. They are exploding. And I just need everyone to know about them because I want them to keep this product around. So I'm going to shout it from the rooftops. Skittles Gummies. They're so good.
Wow, Kirk, you just blew my mind.
Yeah.
You just blew my mind, my friend. I didn't know that existed. So just point of inquiry here.
Yeah.
Size comparison to normal Skittles. Where are we
Great
at?
question. So your normal Skittles are smaller than a penny. This one is probably the size of a quarter, for easy comparison. And I found out when I was traveling on vacation last month, or halfway through this current month, tomorrow's September, date of recording, they have both. They have two versions. They have the original
Oh.
Skittles Gummies, and they have the tropical Skittles Gummies.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say sour, and I was gonna be like, hold the phone.
Hey, I
need
think
to
that's
get in
next,
my car
man.
right now.
I think it's next because I really wanted I just wanted them. I was craving them at the airport. I was like, someone, Hudson News has got to have this. Come on, let's get this. And they had the other version. I was like, not bad. Let's go. I'll try that. It was delicious too.
Wow. I love it. I love it. Okay, my third pick. I'm going to the chocolate realm. Kit Kat. I love a Kit Kat. And again, I said, I'm talking original form, not the king size, just the straight up, but really in any form. It's one of those things where the ratio doesn't get jacked up when you shrink it to fun size or when you make it king size.
Yes.
It's all perfect. It's crunchy. It's got the wafer. I love everything about it, except for people who bite into it like a candy bar. That's chaos. They just bite into the thing of 3 or whatever. I can't handle that. Though I am somebody who takes pull and peel Twizzlers and just eats them straight up without peeling.
I do not peel them. I'm with you.
You get way more bang for your buck that way. The peel is a waste of time and energy. It's not okay. Plus, and we're getting weird and slightly graphic here. When you bite the pull and peel Twizzler and then you can separate it between your teeth into the 9, it's just euphoria.
I think this is the new, like tie the stem of a cherry in your mouth. Can you separate the pull and peel?
You just put it right between your molars and it just, it's a beautiful thing. But yes, anyway, Kit Kat, unless you're one of the monsters who bites into it, just straight up without
or like sideways, right? So I've seen people bite them like if these are the 4 pieces of the Kit Kat, they bite like from the front. But I have seen someone from the side as well.
What, like a corn on the cob? What
Which
are
is
we
more
doing here?
Monster.
Yeah, that's terrifying. Just break it off. They're perforated. Come on.
Like, I don't think that I ever had to be like taught how to eat that. I think it came instinctually. So I think that people who eat that in those different ways, I don't know if they're more evolved than me or
no, serial killers. That's sociopaths is what they are. That's just a fact.
Oh, I love it. All
right, your third pick.
My third pick is very specific. Are you familiar with Crackle chocolate bars?
I am.
That's my third. That's my pick.
Wow.
Here's why. Because Crackle was very up and coming in the world of school fundraisers with candy bars. And all my friends who were in band or whatever it might have been, name your extracurricular, they always had the Crackle bar in there. And it was very similar to a Crunch bar. I kind of feel like it is. And I don't know, there's something just a little bit different in their ingredients and their special sauce that, man, it just like throws me back into 2003 immediately. I love it.
So you're saying Crackle bar greater than Crunch bar?
No, I'm saying they're similar. I'm saying the experience, but great question. I'm saying the experience of the Crunch bar, of the Crackle bar is great. And I have to tell myself, we do this particular episode live, and I was peeking at the comments, and we do have someone chatting in that they eat the Kit Kats from the side.
I know. It's shaking me up a little bit, to be honest. It is. It's shaking me up, but they're making good points.
They do. Yes.
Eating it from the side to separate them. I think that's acceptable.
I think that's different than what we were chatting about.
I agree. I think it's different than, biting 2 sticks with a sideways crunch, half moon, crescent, straight down the middle. I think that's chaotic. That's like anarchy.
These people, they're now stating they can make a TikTok. Yes, please. Because I was going to do this
I need to see it
next week on our Shang-Chi episode. But yeah, what we're seeing, what I've seen is that people bite into it, and you see like the mastication of their mouth left in there. You just see the bite marks and just this missing hole. But I think your way, I think it's fine. Oh, and she agrees. It's chaos. Thank you.
Yeah,
you are not a serial
Have you ever seen
killer.
that meme where it's like the futuristic society and people use it to say like society if people didn't do this, like society if everybody rewound the VHSs or whatever. Ooh, you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I have.
Oh, well, that's how I feel. It's like, this is like, we need that meme. And then it's society if people didn't bite straight into Kit Kat bars like monsters, because I think that's really holding us back.
Excellent.
Okay, so your third pick was Crackle. So I'm on 4. And I thank you for the specification on Crackle versus Crunch. That was helpful.
Got it.
It was helpful. Oh man, this is where the rubber meets the road. These 4 or 5 picks, you got to really, this really tells you who you are. You learn some things about yourself here. You know what?
Just do it. What's your truth, Cam?
It's got to be Original Jolly Ranchers.
Okay.
Original Jolly Ranchers. I'll never forget when they came out with the blue raspberry and it got added to the core flavors. I think I was in school, and I was like, whoa, that was groundbreaking. Blue raspberry, it's the superior flavor. For them to add a new flavor and have it be better than all of the existing flavors was groundbreaking, especially since so many of the original flavors were already certified bangers. Green apple, grape, solid. Watermelon, excellent. They're just really great flavors already. And they last a long time. You get the satisfying crunch. If the one thing they have working against them is that there is a statute of limitations on how good they are. Once they pass the sticky line, there's no going back, and that's bad news. Because then they're sticking to your teeth. It's not good. But you get them fresh out of the bag. Original Jolly Ranchers, chef's kiss. So good.
Wonderful choice. All
right, you're on pick number 4.
My next pick's got to be Mike and Ike's. I do love me some Mike and Ike's.
Good theater candy. Great theater candy. Some would even say the original theater candy.
Yeah. I feel like the Mike and Ike's, I didn't discover them till much later in life, unfortunately. And there was a period of time that I became obsessed with them, like I am with Skittles Gummies now, and I just consume them all the time. Original only, original or Red Faves only. They also had like a Red Faves version, like Starburst came out with. They were the leaders in that, and I gotta say I love the original Mike and Ike's very much.
Great pick. All right, my final pick.
This is
Keep in mind, I'm a non-chocolate person, okay? So most of my picks are not chocolate, so don't throw rocks at me. I am going with Sour Punch straws.
Beautiful.
Sour Punch straws. I mean, the sugary deliciousness of Sour Punch straws, available in many different flavors, including my personal favorite, green apple. Blue raspberry, also good. Watermelon, less so. There are a few great flavors. If you were in grade school and you were really an engine of chaos, you would stick these in your soda pop as a straw, and you would just be flying on cloud 9. I mean, just drug-induced euphoria to the nth degree. It's the closest I've been to heaven on earth, in fact. Yes. So I have to go Sour Punch straws, particularly in your Mountain Dews. I think that's where it really gets electric. That's like I don't know. That's next level. It really is.
I mean, it's probably the real chemical for meth.
It's like those kids that used to like snort Smarties. You remember that? Like kids would like crush up Smarties and snort them like they were cocaine. Yep. Like that's what that is. Those kids, wild times. I'm like, I don't know what we're doing here, but I don't like it. Or Pixie Sticks, same thing. They would go the same route. But Sour Punch straws for the win. That's my final pick.
I feel like there should be like a cut of, like in the 90s film, The Faculty with Josh Hartnett, and like they're constantly snorting different drugs. Like the entire movie is them snorting drugs. And I feel like I want someone to deep fake that with the Sour Punch straws to bring some gravity to the situation.
Exactly. To bring it down to earth, make it more family friendly. And it's probably a similar experience. I don't know, but I just have to say. All right, Kirk, your final pick.
My final pick. This one's easy. It's, I eat this on the regular. Peanut butter M&Ms.
Ooh,
peanut butter M&Ms. Peanut M&Ms, wonderful. Classic M&Ms, fantastic. Peanut butter M&Ms will change your life if you haven't had them. There are lots of different variations of M&Ms these days. Lots of different, their win-loss ratio. I don't know. They got to be a little careful. They're getting some crazy stuff going on there.
The pretzels.
That's
a miss.
What was the crunchy a long time ago? The crunchy, and they brought it back, and it was still not good. I'm like, who authorized this choice? I was expecting like they made it better. They did not. Peanut butter M&Ms will be around to the end of time, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's great. Somehow Reese's Pieces didn't make my list. That's a huge miss. That's a huge miss. But it's my
classic.
go-to movie candy. That's different. That's a different category. It would easily be top 5. Some of my honorable mentions, again, don't throw rocks at me. Payday. I know people hate on the Payday.
Yep.
I like the Payday. All right. What was my other one? Starburst. I think Starburst is high up there. And then I had one more. Not Mike and Ike's. Oh, Shock. They've gone by many different names. I think now they're called Sour Sweet Tarts. They used to be called Shock Tarts. Then they were called Shockers. And now they're like Sweet and Sour Sweet Tarts or something. I don't know. But it's dumb.
Shockers. Shockers was the bomb.
Delicious. Mm-hmm. Any honorable mentions for you, Kirk?
I mean, you got your big dog Starburst. You got Snickers. You've got Reese's Take 5. You know, that merger was huge.
That's big.
There is something with peanut butter, chocolate, and pretzels. Whew, that is some good stuff. Sometimes I'm in the mood for a Three Musketeers bar. I will say so.
Listen, we need to stop the Three Musketeers slander. As someone who I feel like is overqualified to evaluate the quality of chocolate because I don't get to have it very often.
Yes.
I feel like the Three Musketeers slander is uncalled for. I really do. I feel like it's one of these things where it just kind of snowballed out of control, and now we can't roll it back. And you know, it's like Nickelback. Only everybody's okay with still hating Nickelback, but I'm just saying, like it's gone too far. It really has.
Excellent. Thank you.
Also, I think Snickers will be looked at as the glaring omission. I think that will be the one that people look at and they go, "Wow, how could that not happen?"
You guys said Crackle, but not Snickers.
I know, right? I think any other two people on the panel, Snickers gets chosen, 49 times out of 50.
Hey,
to be honest.
And dude, there was a time I used to work at a national monument called the Gateway Arch, the Gateway to the West, and literally every day, as a dessert after lunch, I would buy at my place of work a Snickers bar every day for almost 2 years.
Yeah, you'll live forever, like Warren Buffett. I think Warren Buffett just turned 91. Every day he drinks 5 Cokes, eats McDonald's breakfast sandwich, and every week he has Dairy Queen ice cream.
Well, I'm set, man. That's basically my diet.
Yeah, I'm like, we're here. We made it, guys. We're gonna be okay. All right, that's all we got for you guys. What an extraordinarily long episode this has been, but all good stuff, all good things. And when we post it in podcast form, I like to put those little timestamps. So if you don't want to hear us talk about candy, which like who wouldn't, you can jump around and skip around, whatever you need to do to make the episode work for you, because that's what we're here for. But thank you guys so much for joining us, as always, for our review of Candyman. I mentioned it earlier in the episode, Shang-Chi. Kirk and I are going to see it in 2 days' time. 2 days from now, we will be in theaters watching this film that we've waited so long for. We'll be reviewing it on the pod next week. Remember, that one's only in theaters, so make sure you check it out. What If Episode 4 drops tomorrow. We do our Spilled Popcorn. I'm behind on video editing right now, so they're not on YouTube yet, but our first 2 episodes of Spilled Popcorn, which cover episodes 1 through 3 of What If, are out there in the podcast verse right now. So go to your favorite podcast provider and find those. And I think that's all we got. We got a lot of exciting, fun movies coming up to talk about, a lot of exciting, fun, different activities we've got planned. So we will keep you guys posted. But until that time, I want to give a special thanks to our executive producer, Ryan Spriggs, as well as the great and wonderful band Rhetoric, which you're about to hear right now, who created all of our original music. And we will see you guys next week for Shang-Chi.
Talk to you then.
Bye.